please.
You're actually the second person to do that.
We all do that.
There's pressure when you have a mic in front of you to sing, right?
Yes, exactly. How's everybody?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
It's an exciting project to come out here and talk about.
Oh man, I can't wait. I mean, like, on a lot of shows you do, you kind of like, oh, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. But this really does have a buzz, and we're all excited to see where our characters' trajectories are going to take us. Nothing's set in stone, nothing's firm yet. So, we're just really very excited to get those scripts and start seeing where we're going to go.
So yeah, we were just talking about that with Tyler, about how you guys really don't know what's coming, and I would imagine that to some extent that's probably exciting and maybe a little nerve-wracking. But so they haven't really given you any kind of ideas of where the first several episodes are going to go?
I've heard some stories,
yeah,
and it's really exciting.
Good.
Because again, I play a character called Henshaw, and in the comic books, he ends up being very famously Cyborg Superman.
Yeah.
But what's great about the superhero genre, I think, is that it's interpretive. So you can get 5 different Batmans and have 5 different performances. You have 5 different Supermans and have 5 different performances, 5 different stories. And what's going to be great about this is to see how we interpret Hank Henshaw, how Greg and Ali and Sarah and Andrew interpret Hank Henshaw. And from what I'm hearing, it's really, really exciting.
Is it going to be like the comics? Because I'm a big fan of that storyline.
Well, I did a lot of that research, and I couldn't find a definitive Hank Henshaw storyline.
Yeah.
Some say he worked here, some say he was an astronaut.
Yeah, it was almost like a takeoff on the Fantastic Four. It was like a super family.
That's right. Yeah.
But they all had powers, but it became very tragic, where they all sort of lost their lives.
That's right.
Powers.
That's right. The one thing I did like is that Hank does become indestructible.
Yes.
And having been blown up in my last 2 projects, I'm really liking that.
So we're at Comic-Con. I want to know, what are you a fan of?
What am I a fan of? Well, I was always an Incredible Hulk fan, and I have to say Mark Ruffalo does that really, really well. Should I say that? I'm not sure that's Marvel, but yeah, as a kid, I was always reading the Fantastic Four and the Incredible Hulk, and as a young kid, I have to say it's so exciting to see these comic books now looking great. There's no strings and there's no kind of dodgy green screen. It just looks really, really great. And I think we've reached the point now where technologically we can do some incredible stuff. And again, relating this back to Shakespeare, I mean, what's great about these stories is that they're full of these archetypes struggling with personal issues. So despite your superhero strength, you're still dealing with loss, and you're still dealing with revenge, all these things that make those make things relatable to the audience. So, despite their kind of super aspects, what's great about all these stories is that they're full of human stories. I'm just lucky to be on this project because I'm really excited about it.
Are there any villains you'd like to see? Are there any villains?
Any villains? I'd like to see. I used to kind of like the Silver Surfer. Was a kind of thought he was kind of cool. So maybe him. Who was the big guy? Galacticus. I thought he was great. So
That's all Marvel.
Yeah.
That's all Marvel.
Yeah.
It's all Marvel. I should maybe stick to my DC.
Darkseid from DC is like a big, hulking guy. He'd be cool to bring in. Well, they've never really done anything with him.
I think that there's a lot of characters. I think they're going to start to unpack now.
Yeah.
And as you said, I think a lot of the main superheroes have perhaps mainly been Marvel, apart from obviously the big tentpoles, Batman, Superman. So it's going to be nice to start feeding these characters through, and I think people are going to be very excited when they start appearing, and they may start appearing.
So you almost can't do a super story without having the Bizarro world at some point, so it'd be cool to see that too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, write in. I should encourage people to write in and say, how about this guy? How about that guy?
I'm just glad to see Hank Henshaw being brought to life, because I always loved that character in the comics.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
great. Well, I'm excited to be bringing him to life.
Cool.
Thank
I think
you.
they're trying to play